Have you noticed your body feels different lately? Not necessarily one major injury, not necessarily severe pain, but just different. Maybe you feel stiffer, slower, weaker, less steady. Maybe getting up from a chair takes more effort. Maybe stairs feel harder. Maybe you get tired faster than you used to. Or maybe you've simply caught yourself thinking, I just don't move like I used to. And if that sounds familiar, you're absolutely not alone. What's interesting is that for many people, this change happens gradually. So gradually that it almost sneaks up on you. One day you realize you avoid stairs more, you hesitate before getting on the floor, you look for armrests automatically, you avoid carrying heavy things, you move more cautiously, you avoid certain activities, or you feel less confident physically than you used to. And for many people, that realization is emotional because deep down, it doesn't feel like I'm getting older. It feels like I'm losing part of myself. And that can be incredibly frustrating. My name is Nick Parmigiano, and I'm a physical therapist with over 20 years experience helping people improve strength, mobility, balance, endurance, and confidence with movement. And today I want to talk about something that affects far more people than most realize: the silent progression of deconditioning and declining movement capacity. Because many people think this is just aging, but in many cases, what we're actually seeing is accumulated weakness, reduced activity, movement avoidance, declining endurance, reduced balance, slower reaction time, stiffness, and loss of confidence in the body. And the important thing to understand is this: the body adapts to what we repeatedly do, but it also adapts to what we stop doing. And that's a huge concept. If we stop challenging strength, the body reduces strength. If we stop moving quickly, reaction time declines. If we stop walking longer distances, endurance decreases. If we stop challenging balance, stability systems weaken. The body is incredibly efficient, almost too efficient. It's constantly asking, do I still need this ability? And if the answer becomes no, the body slowly begins scaling that ability back, almost like a company downsizing departments it no longer thinks it needs. Now, here's where things become important. Many people don't realize how much reserve capacity they've lost until life suddenly demands it. And reserve capacity matters enormously. For example, imagine tripping unexpectedly. Balance recovery is not just balance, it requires strength, speed, coordination, reaction time, joint mobility, nervous system processing, and confidence with movement. If those systems have declined, the body has less ability to recover. This is one reason falls become more common over time. And falls are not simply random events. They're often the result of multiple systems slowly declining together. Strength declines, mobility declines, reaction time declines, balance declines, confidence declines, then movement decreases even further. And unfortunately, this cycle tends to accelerate itself. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming, well, I'm still moving around, so I must be okay. But simply surviving daily activities is not the same thing as having physical reserve capacity. A lot of people are functioning much closer to their physical limits than they realize. And this matters because life eventually throws unexpected demands at us. An illness, a surgery, a hospitalization, a long trip, a fall, even a few weeks of inactivity. If reserve capacity is already low, those events can suddenly create major decline. I see this all the time. Someone has a relatively minor event, but because their system was already deconditioned underneath the surface, they struggle to bounce back. And this is why I believe preventative movement care is so important. Because ideally, we don't wait until someone completely loses confidence, mobility, or independence before taking action. Now, another thing I want to mention is many people become trapped in what I call the protective lifestyle loop. They begin subconsciously organizing life around energy conservation and risk reduction. They walk less, move slower, avoid difficult tasks, avoid uneven surfaces, avoid stairs, avoid getting on the floor, avoid situations where they feel unstable. And while that may temporarily feel safer, long-term it often accelerates decline because movement is nourishment for the body. Strength is nourishment. Balance challenges are nourishment. Mobility is nourishment. The body needs demand in order to maintain capacity. Now, this does not mean people should recklessly push themselves. That's important. Many people have legitimate joint issues, spinal problems, neuropathy, arthritis, surgeries, balance deficits, pain, or medical conditions. But what it does mean is that the body often needs a structured progression to safely rebuild their capacity. And that's where many people struggle because they're stuck between two extremes. One extreme is doing too little. The other is trying random workouts or exercises that are either too aggressive or not specific to their needs. And unfortunately, generic exercise is often not enough because not everybody is weak in the same way. Not everybody has the same movement limitations. Not everybody has the same balance deficits. And not everybody fatigues for the same reasons. And not everybody compensates the same way. This is why assessments matter so much. At Treasure Coast Physical Therapy and Fitness, we spend a lot of time identifying what is actually driving someone's movement limitations. We look at strength, mobility, endurance, posture, gait mechanics, balance, coordination, asymmetries, reaction time, and overall movement efficiency, because often the issue is not simply weakness. Sometimes it's poor weight shifting. Sometimes it's instability during single leg standing. Sometimes it's reduced hip mobility. Sometimes it's fear of movement. Sometimes it's reduced foot sensation. And sometimes it's inefficient walking mechanics wasting enormous amounts of energy. And many people don't even realize how much they're compensating until we evaluate them. We use objective measurements to identify problems that are often missed during quick evaluations, because small deficits repeated thousands of times per day eventually become very significant. Now, one thing I've learned after doing this for many years is that most people are not actually chasing fitness, they're chasing freedom. They want confidence, independence, energy, resilience, safety, capability, and the ability to continue living life on their terms. They want to travel without fear, walk through airports confidently, play with grandchildren, get off the floor easier, feel stronger, feel more stable, feel capable again. And many people are capable of improving far more than they think. The body is remarkably adaptable, even later in life. I've worked with people who improved walking tolerance, endurance, balance, stair negotiation, confidence, strength, mobility, and overall function, not because we found one magical exercise, but because we followed a structured progression, step by step, system by system, building capacity gradually. That's the key, because real long-term improvement is usually not about intensity, it's about consistency and structure. Now, if you're listening to this and thinking, this sounds like me, maybe you've noticed reduced endurance, weakness, declining balance, stiffness, slower walking, reduced confidence, fatigue, instability, or difficulty doing things that used to feel easier. I want you to understand something important. These changes are often warning signs, not failure, warning signs that your movement system needs attention. And the earlier you address them, the more options you often have. That's why we created our assessment and discovery visit process. Because before building the right plan, you first need clarity. You need to understand where your body is struggling, what weaknesses exist, what systems need improvement, what compensations are happening, and what can realistically be improved safely. It's not guesswork. It's not random YouTube exercises. It's not generic advice, a personalized strategy. So if you'd like help understanding what may be contributing to your movement decline, your weakness, your balance issues, or your deconditioning, I'd encourage you to schedule a free discovery visit. This is a relaxed conversation where we discuss your current limitations, your goals, your concerns, what activities you want to continue doing, and whether our approach might be a good fit for you. No pressure, no obligation, just clarity. And if appropriate, we can discuss the next steps for a more detailed movement and performance assessment. Because your future mobility matters, your independence matters, your confidence matters, and in many ways, movement is freedom. Click the button below to schedule your free discovery visit, and let's start helping your body move more like itself again.